Every spell you've cast that didn't land, every ritual that felt hollow, every moment you wondered why your magic doesn't work the way it does for other people, it's because you're trying to channel power through a self you won't look at. You're not bad at this. You're not blocked. You're not cursed. You're casting from a fragmented self that hasn't integrated its darkness, and that fragmentation is exactly where your power is bleeding out. Think of it like this: every part of yourself you've disowned, the anger you were told was ugly, the grief you shoved down because it was inconvenient, the want you learned to call selfish, doesn't just disappear. It goes underground. And every single one of those exiled pieces becomes a blind spot in your practice, a place where energy leaks or misfires or just refuses to move at all. You can't direct what you won't acknowledge. You can't wield what you won't touch. The parts of yourself you reject are still running the show. They're still making decisions, still sabotaging your intentions. They just do it from the basement, where you can't see them. So you light your candles and you speak your words and you wonder why nothing shifts. It's because half of you is working against the other half, and the half you're pretending doesn't exist is usually the half that holds the actual power. Shadow work isn't journaling about your feelings. It's not affirmations in the mirror or manifesting abundance or any of that repackaged self-help positivity. That's not what we're doing here. Shadow work comes from Carl Jung, the psychoanalyst who mapped the unconscious like it was uncharted territory. And what he found living down there was the shadow, every part of yourself you've disowned, repressed, shoved into the basement of your psyche because you were told it was unacceptable. Here's the thing people get wrong: your shadow isn't bad. It's not evil. It's not the demon you need to destroy. It's everything you buried to survive. To be loved. To be safe. Your shadow is your rage when you were taught that anger makes you ugly. It's your hunger when you learn that wanting too much makes you selfish. It's your sexuality when desire was shameful. Your ambition when you were told to stay small. Your boundaries when saying no meant you weren't nice anymore. You didn't lose these parts of yourself. You hid them so well you forgot where you put them. And they've been running your life from the dark ever since. Because here's what Jung understood: the shadow doesn't go away just because you refuse to look at it. It leaks out. It sabotages you. It runs the show while you think you're in control. Here's the thing about magic that nobody wants to say out loud: you can't direct what you won't acknowledge. Your will is only as powerful as your self-awareness. And your shadow? It's already casting spells. Every single day. Whether you're conscious of it or not. That unexamined jealousy when another practitioner's work takes off? That's a curse you didn't mean to send. That fear you bury under protection spells and warding rituals? You're not protecting yourself from outside forces. You're fortifying against parts of yourself you refuse to meet. Every hex you think is about someone else is usually about something inside you that you haven't faced yet. The person who triggered you isn't the problem. They're the mirror. And the most dangerous practitioner isn't the one throwing curses from across town. It's the one who doesn't know they're poisoning their own well. The witches who actually changed things, the ones whose names we still whisper, they weren't pure. They weren't light and love and perfectly healed. They were the ones who looked directly at their rage, their grief, their hunger, and said, "This is mine, and I'm going to use it." That's integration. That's real power. The kind that doesn't backfire. Here's the thing nobody tells you about shadow work: it doesn't make you nicer. It doesn't make you more palatable or easier to be around. It makes you whole, which means more honest, more boundaried, and significantly less concerned with being loved by everyone. That's not a bug. That's the entire point. You're going to lose people when you start doing this work. Not because you're becoming worse, but because they were attached to the version of you that stayed small. The you that apologized for taking up space. The you that twisted yourself into shapes to keep the peace. When you stop performing that version, some people won't know what to do with you. And honestly, let them go. This is why so many people start shadow work and quit within the first few months. It's not that it doesn't work, it's that it works too well. You start setting boundaries and suddenly you're the difficult one. You stop pretending you're fine and people call you negative. You own your anger, your jealousy, your need for control, and instead of those things losing power, they become tools. Precision instruments. But wielding them means you're no longer safe to be around for people who need you dimmed. Shadow work will make you powerful. It will make you free. It will absolutely not make you everyone's favorite person. And if you can sit with that, you're ready. So you want to actually do this. Here's where you begin, and it's simpler than you think, but way less comfortable. Start by noticing what you judge hardest in other people. The traits that make you physically recoil. The behavior that makes you think, God, I could never. That's your shadow waving at you from across the room. Whatever repulses you out there is living in here, suppressed and furious and waiting. You've just been too afraid to claim it. Next question, and this one's going to sting. What would you never let yourself want, say, or be? Not what society frowns on, what you personally have forbidden yourself from even touching. The anger you won't express. The power you won't claim. The softness you won't allow. The desire you've labeled too selfish, too ugly, too much. That's where the work begins. Right there in the discomfort of naming what you've exiled. And here's the part most spiritual people get wrong. Shadow work isn't about fixing yourself. It's not another self-improvement project where you become more palatable or healed or whole. It's about meeting the parts you've been running from and letting them speak. Not to justify them. Not to act on them recklessly. But to stop pretending they don't exist. Because the moment you turn toward the shadow instead of away from it, you stop being its puppet. And that's when the real magic starts. Here's what shifts when you actually do this. Your magic stops feeling performative and starts feeling inevitable. Because you're no longer fighting yourself while trying to manifest. You're not burning candles for confidence while secretly believing you're unworthy. You're not calling in love while convinced you're unlovable. The spell and the spellcaster finally align. And that's when things start moving without you having to force them. You become difficult to manipulate. Because you've already faced the things people use to control you. Shame, fear of rejection, the need to be good. Someone tries to guilt you and you just don't feel it the same way. You've already sat with that part of yourself. You've already looked at why you needed their approval. And now, you don't. It's not rebellion. It's freedom. And here's the strangest part. You stop needing your practice to make you feel worthy. You stop using tarot to prove you're intuitive. You stop doing rituals to convince yourself you're powerful. And that's when it becomes genuinely powerful. Because now you're working with a craft, not begging it to fix you. The most dangerous thing you can do in witchcraft isn't summoning something dark. It's pretending you already know yourself. The shadow waits. and it's the only thing standing between you and the magic you've been chasing. Follow Blackfire Atelier. I'll see you in the shadows.